Okay. I apologize for like a few minutes of delay right now. So yeah, let's start this session. So hello everybody, welcome to a very new episode of this amazing segment called What the Career. And in this segment, we basically discuss about unconventional and offbeat careers that you can explore. And the whole fact about engineer ka beta sirf engineer banega, ये अब like ये अब नहीं रहेगा. That's the whole motto of this whole show. And because we'll also tell you about these cool careers during this segment. And today's session is specially about artist management. So I'm your host. My name is Rohit Chaudhary, here to bring you this conversation with our very amazing guests who are basically Rupika Khere as well as Ankur Kaushik. And they basically are artist managers themselves, and they work with OML where they manage popular artists like Zakir Khan, Aishwarya, Mohanraj, then Prashasti Singh, as well as yeah. So like a lot of them, and I'm like super excited to have this conversation with you, and I welcome to you to this segment.
Hey,
You,
hi,
Rohit. Hi.
hi, Rohit.
Yeah. So before we sort of jump into this whole career thing, first let us try. I really want to understand what artist management is.
So I'll go first. Let me reiterate the line that you have said कि engineer का बेटा engineer नहीं बनेगा. That's the fun part of it.
Yeah.
Actually, what artist management is, through in the business sense, I would say every artist has a business side of it, right? And there is an art and there is a business side of it, which has many aspects of, if we can see, like live content, merchandising, then contracts, finance, taxes. So all of that is a, you can say that an artist is a company which has a lot of segments and a lot of departments. And artist management is the, you can say, the CEO of that company who is running operation wise. Yeah. The artist is the product and artist manager is the person who is running that product and making monetizing that art in the industry. So that I would like to say that there are a lot of segments of an artist that people actually doesn't look into. There are the operation values, uh, the hard work behind the scenes. That is all covered in artist management.
Okay. That sounds actually very interesting. And my next question would be, how did you get into artist management, and how did you get exposure to this whole field? Because it sounds so unconventional. Because generally people in our country, they sort of like start dreaming about being an engineer or a doctor or a CA, and then where how did you sort of get exposed to this whole field?
I think
So,
both Ankur and I have very different points of views in terms of approach as to how we came about this career, which is artist management. Especially because artist management in itself is a huge term and has a couple of different kind of roles that you can identify yourself with. Being an artist manager, you are not only just a person who is enterprising and kind of monetizing any and all opportunities that come about for your artist, but also somebody who can then become someone who is well versed with the legal language of what consequences might be for the idea of art. It could be somebody who has to know the know-how of what a CA has to do for that matter. Like these are very small and general
Okay.
things that say, but you pick those up on the job. And I think for both of us, in terms of how we came about artist management, I started off very differently. I have a very strong academic background. I went to JNU for 2 years and did
Oh
sociology.
wow.
Then somehow when I came back to Bombay, I was looking for work. I obviously had that entire idea of, hey, I should become an academic at the end of the day. uh, I should go ahead and become a professor and do the correct trajectory that your academics kind of trains you to do. But
Hmm.
in the mix of all of this, I think it was also a lot of social networking that kind of stood very strongly, like friends saying that these are opportunities that apply to your caliber as the kind of person that you are, rather
Hmm.
than the kind of person that you are in terms of who you have been studying and learning. So
Hmm.
I think there was where I picked up on artist management, and I was like, okay, there's something called as OML, an institution, an organization that I dreamed of. I dreamed to work in this place since 2012, and in
Okay.
2017, 18, when I had that opportunity, I was just like, okay, I guess this is gonna happen now, and I'm gonna go and do this.
Hmm.
Whereas for Ankur, it was something that he already had like this backing. So I think Ankur should also speak a little bit about that.
Hmm.
So yeah, when I started off, basically I didn't had any major academic background. I am
Hmm.
a college dropout for that matter, and the thing that I pursued was event management. Uh,
Hmm.
I was very keen in organizing events, doing promotions. I was very a buff of electronic music back then in 2012 and
Okay.
2030, and I got awestruck with NN7 Weekender basically. I got my thing was when I saw NS7 Weekender, and it changed my life in sense of the direction of event management. I
Hmm.
thought I am the person who wants to do all this. I want to throw gigs. I want to manage these artists. I really like the vibe of festival. So that's what I pursued. I am basically event manager with like I did some diploma course in back in
Hmm.
2011.
Hmm.
That's a short 6 month diploma that I thought I'll pursue and then get into it. And then I joined a event management agency um, uh, uh, as an intern. Um, then I pursued corporate gigs and for 6 8 months, and then suddenly NH7 Weekender came in. So I thought, no, this is
Okay.
what exactly I want to do. This not corporate gigs and making property dealers drunk in a
Hmm.
corporate night. This is not for me actually. And I traveled multiple cities following NH7 Weekender. Found few artists that I can manage in my city. Like
Hmm.
found few artists I can follow in the city,
Hmm.
going to their gigs, even though they're not big gigs like club gigs,
Hmm.
following the community. Yeah.
Hmm.
Being in the community, knowing people who are doing this and how they are doing this,
Hmm.
getting the knowledge outside, from outside is the thing, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I tried doing that, and yeah, I got my big break with Tej Barar in 2014. He hired me to manage Nuclear. Um,
Oh wow. Okay.
Before that, I started my own company. I manage a chef as well. We did few gigs with Usha, a multi like, and then I started a restaurant with the Mr. Jobat, who I was managing. So I did all that hustle just to be in that zone. How to do it? What is the maths to do it? And when when I was departing again from the music scene and the art scene, I went back to electronic music, started promoting it. Then Tej recognized me, and somehow he hired me. And then I got chance to work in NS7 Weekender, and then because I had a very good production background, so I produced NS7 Weekender as well with Mr. Manish Chandani. It was a great experience. 2014, 15, 16. I was in the team who was producing NS7 Weekender, also the artist management team. And then in 2017, I got the opportunity to manage comedy, which is with Zakir Khan. Uh, so from then to here, it's all comedy. So yeah, that's how I
Okay.
pursued my career. Uh,
Okay, Rupika, I really noticed the fact that you had OML as a dream before, as well as you sort of like achieved that dream. So, was it the same way you dreamt about achieving OML, like, or did it like change later? Like, did you dream?
So I think Rohit, the dream to work with with OML came about with NH7. I think NH7
Hmm.
as property, as a music festival that was so in like,
Hmm.
homegrown to Indian fans and Indian music. Uh, and that was the first time I noticed about such an organization that was kind of putting together so many things and skill sets together.
Hmm. Hmm.
That time I had no clue where my life would go. Obviously, I was just in 2012, I was just entering graduation, and I had
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
pick
Hmm.
up a choice as to what is it that I'm going to study. And at that point, I don't think that I prioritized my career before I prioritized something that interested me at that point.
Hmm.
So in terms of achieving this dream, I had a lot of detours and I was all over the place. But I think in that all over the placeness, whatever you're selecting at that point, you are selecting it from the point of view of what you want to prioritize in that moment and what advantage it adds to your life at that point.
Hmm.
So for
Hmm.
me, for choosing the trajectory of being into academics or studying sociology, at that point, my first dream was that, hey, I have to go to a place like JNU. Like you get that, you collect that stamp, you get that on your CV, you like become that kind of a person. And I think once
Hmm.
I brought myself back to Bombay and being part of what Bombay is offering in terms of what I had studied. Bombay didn't
Hmm.
have that
Hmm.
much to offer in terms of what मैंने जो पढ़ाई की है वो बॉम्बे में कुछ नहीं मिल रहा था at that point.
Hmm.
Honestly, I
Hmm.
had to shift entirely to a place like Delhi, or I had to look at doing things and like move abroad, for which I didn't honestly have the money at that point. So again,
Okay.
I think dreams somewhere come back into the picture when your priorities and your dreams kind of align. And when
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
had
Hmm.
the opportunity that OML was somebody who was looking for people to kind of join them as artist managers, I wasted no time
Hmm.
and I was like, this is probably, the sign that I was waiting for. And like,
Hmm.
I jump on that immediately. And I think OML also recognized that even though I wasn't, again, not from the similar background as maybe an Ankur or the other people that were
Hmm.
kind of joining this organization, somewhere they
Hmm.
recognized caliber to see that this person will bring something to the table from the
Hmm.
point of from the things that I had studied. So it was a lot of like detours and moving about, and then finally being like, OML is where I am going to be for another
Hmm.
couple, like for the rest of my time in terms of where my priorities then align again. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I hope that answers the dream
No, no,
question.
that
Because I am
that
someone who
actually
does not.
answers.
Yeah, like for me, ambition is something that is very
Yeah.
like it's not as determined as my peers. Like I've seen people who have been so determined and ambitious to kind of,
Hmm.
this is my goal and I will do it, and I will do it in this particular way. And I'm
Hmm.
somebody who's like, okay, one day at a time, I will figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Something will come about. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So there are a few questions from the audience where they are really eager to understand what are the skill sets that is required for being an artist manager, as well as what are the qualifications that are sort of like that you require to sort of become an artist manager.
Got it.
Um, so I'll take it up. Basically, after doing a lot of artist management, I think a lot of digital marketing. You should know more of event management. Uh, you should know, first of all, you should know what sort of artist and what sort of community you want to manage.
Hmm.
Like there is music, there is comedy, there is many art forms like
Hmm.
celebrity management, and so
Hmm.
you need to know what you are representing, the art that you want to represent, right?
Hmm.
Key points of that, for that matter. If you're talking about comedy,
Hmm.
should know what is the current scenario of comedy, who are the people who are
Hmm.
really doing good, and who are the people who are, what city, what's working, what's not working. You should have a grasp of that. So basically, cultural knowledge. So these are the
Got
basic
it.
things, and uh, uh, yeah, I think that that defines all. I think Rupika, you want to add anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I think with what Ankur said, you need to recognize that, like a lot of such careers have the advantage of you being somebody who's interested in the art form.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
need to be able to recognize that you have some kind of skills in order to apply what you are seeing and viewing on a daily basis. Like a
Hmm.
lot of people, when they hear about such careers, they are like, oh,
Hmm.
these are careers where I can monetize the fact that I spend most of my life on Netflix, or I
Hmm.
spend most of my time on YouTube. That's
Hmm.
kind of an advantage that you can play to, till you kind of marry it with a skill set like understanding how communications work,
Hmm.
understanding
Hmm.
how there is a system that kind of plays into key. If you watch this YouTube video, what is it that you're taking away from it?
Got
Like
it.
if
Yeah.
it's something like you're watching binging with Babish, it's something that a lot of people kind of like to watch on YouTube. But are
Hmm.
you taking a binging with Babish and you have the vision of, hey, you know what, it'll be so cool to watch people make a binging with Babish here with our artists, with the creators that we are
Hmm.
watching day in and day out. How am I going to be able to kind of bring that and kind of communicate it to the people who have stakes in this? So
Hmm.
communication definitely is key. And if you're looking at it from professional point of view, then definitely trying to go in for a communication based degree is something that will give you the advantage of
Hmm.
understanding what is the system that you're working and operating in. Because
Yeah.
in as much as you can learn on the job, just having that at the back of your mind and knowing the language and what is key in terms of where are the things that you need to bridge the gap. Because as an artist manager, one thing is important to like it's very important for you to remember that you will be bridging gaps, and
Hmm.
you will be making bridges at the end of the day. So that
Hmm.
communication is very important. So I think that is
Okay.
something that you must kind of have, uh, if you're
So
looking at
yeah,
really going into this field.
the only thing I would like to add here is कि uh, एक चीज तो तुम्हारा एक्सपर्ट होना चाहिए एक चीज में तो तुम you have to have an ace of like
Hmm.
for that matter I am really good in production.
Hmm.
I know for the fact that ki, how many cities have how many auditoriums and how many clubs and what to do with them, right? So that is my skill set. That is
Hmm.
what I'm acing. And the other best thing you should have is to learn every day, right? And accommodate everyone. So it's a team job. It's you can't have all the skill set that and
Yeah.
this business requires, right? But
Hmm.
one thing you should have is to learn every day and accommodate everyone, right? You can bring
Hmm.
here some ideas and get them on board. Problem solving uh, 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 तरीका रहना चाहिए कि
Yeah.
अप्रोच प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर की तरह होना चाहिए an artist
Yeah.
manager.
I think
And
that is
yeah,
true for
then you'll
any
figure.
profession.
Yeah, that is,
Yeah.
and that's the key of artist management as well.
Hmm. There's a very wonderful, fascinating question actually from one of our viewers. They want to know that whether you get starstruck at times. Are you like does it really happen to you guys? Because obviously, if Zakir Khan like shows up, and I would like totally lose it. So does it happen to you?
Not anymore for me until unless it's really someone that I haven't even seen in my dreams for that
Okay.
matter, like some international act or something like that. Maybe Chester comes back alive. Maybe yes then. But
Wow.
yeah, but in my early days, yes. In my early days, yes, I was a bit starstruck with a lot of people, a lot of artists, because
Okay.
I didn't imagine myself there, till, like working with them or maybe in the same room. So I was little,
Hmm.
but I got used to it. You can say, like I got the business, and now I know okay how the pain
Hmm.
goes through. So
Yeah.
I would say like, not really.
Okay,
Same.
Rupika. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. I'm
Sorry,
so sorry. Yeah.
no problem.
No, no, no.
I was
I was about to ask you the same question actually.
I was just adding to
Yeah.
that only. For me, it's always a late response. Like when I'm there at on site with some really really cool people, like and it's so casual because you meet them and you work with them and you're before you know it
Hmm.
you're actually like in a full fledged conversation with them. And then
Hmm.
after everything is over, like 3 days later, I'll be in bed and I'll be like, what just happened?
Yeah, I
What?
can totally
That
imagine
was
that
part
happening.
of. Yeah, so for me, like during the time, I'm just like fully occupied with making sure things are being done. But
Hmm.
when I have that time to myself, I'm just going to be like, that was cool, very nice, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Also, my next question is for like Ankur. How does a day in Ankur's life look like?
Oh, you can't. Even. So basically, yeah, it's a lot of team management in
Hmm.
current days. A lot of team management, a lot of planning, a lot of strategizing of live shows, and structuring the
Hmm.
year all through.
Hmm.
Um, my current days are travel. I'm also like revitalizing the live gigs because there are a lot of
Hmm.
challenges that we have because of the corona and the COVID scenarios in different states and different rules and
Hmm.
guidelines, and
Hmm.
also making sense out of P&Ls.
Okay.
If we are doing something, we have to make money,
Hmm.
and trying to balance this to basically still do it,
Hmm.
make less money, but trying to make it happen so that it doesn't, you know, it's maybe we'll come back to the normal days sometime next year, but at least we have to work really hard from now only to really get there. Otherwise, it'll be very problematic. So yeah, this is how I'm planning. Every day is more of year
Okay.
planning, strategizing, and then all of this, and traveling, obviously.
Okay. What about you, Rupika?
I think, Rohit, before I answer that, I just, for anybody watching, I just wanted to also give everyone a breakup of what are the things that are part of our lives. So we have a couple of big groups of things that we work within. So there is something that is live management, which is looking at what Ankur is specializing in. Live is something that is where comedians and other acts are kind of doing touring and are just being in front of the public. And there is a big business which is the content side of things, where we are trying to look at all the work that you look at social media, all the work that you see with artists supporting their careers.
Hmm.
And this is also something that we look at the OTT side, where you have a Zakir Khan doing Chacha Vidhayak. There's that.
Hmm.
So these are largely the three things that the two of us will be working at any given point in the day. So our work also on a daily is then distributed to fit these things in making, like, for me at least, how I like to work is I'll usually put a to-do list of recognizing कि ये तीन divisions में what are the things that need to be done. And therefore on a daily it usually looks like planning for the rest of the week in terms of what are the
Hmm.
things in terms of output that we are going to make, and then
Hmm.
planning ahead in terms of what are the things that we are going to put together to see and figure out whether this works as a new activity that we want to start with the comic, as a new
Okay.
video that we want to make with the comic, as a new set that we want to put out with the comic. And of course, is this a new show that we want to make with the comic? Again, looking at those three divisions and recognizing what are the things on a daily basis that require attention. For
Hmm.
me, a lot of my work is slightly a little more micro in terms of Ankur overlooks everything, whereas for me it's something, because Ankur is actually my manager. So it's nice that the two of us are here together. So it gives you a better picture of how work looks.
Hmm.
So for me, it's usually also to kind of make a lot of client calls in terms of what are the things in terms of any brand work that is going on. So that kind of takes up a lot of managers'
Hmm.
day. A lot of calls, a lot of unknown numbers. You have to either have Truecaller or you trust the process.
Hmm.
Then there's also something that happens on a daily basis is in terms of figuring out their accounts. A lot of time goes into that, so you kind of
Okay.
need to also accommodate for that. And of course,
Yeah.
the fun part of all of this, I think, and Rohit is going to ask this to us very soon. uh, the fun part of all of this is also the conceptualizing that we get to do as artist managers, because we are the first
Okay.
person's point of view, point of contact with any and every stakeholder, be it
Hmm.
somebody's CEO or be it someone else's manager. It will always
Hmm.
be the artist manager before the artist. So
Hmm.
sub conceptualization that needs to happen in terms of what is the new stuff that we're going to put together.
Hmm.
That also occupies a lot of, like, what a day looks like in my life. So
Okay.
be that, I think. So, yeah.
Okay, that's actually very interesting, because initially I had this preconceived notion about the fact that artist manager basically are only responsible for like the managing aspect of it. But since I know that there is like a creative aspect of it as well, which is like pretty fascinating to hear about it. So let's say I want to intern as an artist manager. So what all should I expect that I'm going to learn from this whole job?
I think a little bit of everything. So,
Okay.
the best part about this job is that you have your eyes on everything. So,
Hmm.
as somebody, if you're interning as an artist manager, you'll first learn most about who your artist is. Because unless and until you don't learn that, it'll be very
Hmm.
difficult for you to be able to understand what do I do with this artist. Because your
Okay.
artist is going to be like, hey, you take on, my life is now yours. You go ahead and figure out what is it that I should be doing to grow as the comedian that I am. So
Hmm.
for you to then recognize those things will involve understanding cultural trends. What are people looking
Hmm.
out for? Understanding what your artist's strengths are in terms of what is it that their
Hmm.
comedy applies to, whether it's witty kind of comedy, whether it's social commentary, whether it's dark comedy, what is this kind of comedian that you're going to build. So that
Okay.
kind of then opens up a lot of doors for you to understand what are the kind of what are the kind of concepts and the kind of shows
Hmm.
that this artist can do. Like, is
Hmm.
my for example, if for me and for Aishwarya Mohanraj, she
Hmm.
is somebody who everybody knows makes brilliant reels. And
Yeah.
reels was not a
Brilliant.
new
Oh yes.
concept. Reels is just
Yeah.
a 2 to 3 month old concept for us, but we all know
Hmm.
she's an amazing reeler.
Yeah.
So for me as a manager, then if I were to be on the job and learn what am I doing, so I'm not just learning
Hmm.
what are these kind of reels that are applying to her and to the audience. I'm also looking at how can this reel become maybe a small show on Instagram. Who knows? Why not? But for you to be able to understand how you're going to make that, you need to understand what is the kind of production that goes into it. Is this something that
Hmm.
she'd be able to make herself? Is this something that she requires help for? And if it's the second part, who are these people that are going to help her? And if these are the people that want to help her, should I then take this and go to some bigger stakeholders and say, hey, this is what I want to do? Or should I just go ahead and do it myself?
I think,
I think.
Rupika,
Yeah.
that internet.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I'll
Maybe
Uh,
just,
my internet
yeah.
yeah.
dropped, but
Uh, can you hear us, Rupika? So I'll just, what I'll do is I'll just
Hmm.
tell you what are the divisions that an artist manager can work into. This
Hmm.
one is sales, getting into opportunities. What new
Hmm.
opportunities, even if you talk about content working or maybe live working, there are new opportunities every day. People are trying to get and work,
Hmm.
uh, like get more deals, brand deals, or maybe live shows. So
Yeah.
working in sales, you can say. Then you have content division where you can say you conceptualize with an artist of what sort
Hmm.
of content she or he wants to take out. Um, then we're talking about tour management where
Hmm.
you really go out and fix venues, um, travel with an artist, operation wise, flights, and everything. Then we also yeah, these are the sort of and then one more thing, like making noise, like whatever you do needs there is a team, and then you know how
Hmm.
to make noise. That's the PR and the
Hmm.
marketing division. So these are the aspects
Yeah.
of an artist that you can really you know look into, and these are the skill sets, and these are the people we work daily in our daily life. Sorry,
Yeah.
Rupika, you can
Hmm.
continue.
no, I'm sorry, my internet dropped, but what I was trying to say was just that. And
Okay, since let's say I want to start my career in like artist management, so what should be my first step?
I would say just go out there first. wherever, whatever
Okay.
artist, whatever community you want to be part of.
Hmm.
It's a very big community. I'm just emphasizing on that part. If you're out there, you're already uh, going out there and the gigs, the art, whatever artist is doing, or if it's a celebrity management, try and get
Hmm.
into PR activities, try and get hold of those sort of work deals. So you have to be out there and know people who are already doing this, right?
Hmm.
Research in the industry, uh, and once you're there, and if you are in my gig, I will definitely notice you. Yeah, this
Okay.
is what my job is, right? And if
Hmm.
you're there, and if you're working, start. If you're an intern, start working as a volunteer, right?
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
you're in a professional already, try and get into the companies who you think you have sort of skill set of, right? Who are
Hmm.
working with these sort of celebrities or an artist,
Hmm.
or like PR agencies or uh, such brand
Hmm.
agencies, right? So try and
Hmm.
get close to this community as much as possible. Try
Hmm.
and get more information. Put
Hmm.
yourself out there, be recognized, and if
Hmm.
you want to reach out to the right people in sense of mail them, e-
Hmm.
put out a message, and
Hmm.
highlight yourself first, right?
Okay.
It'll never get unnoticed, right?
Got it.
If you
Yep.
try hard, it'll never get unnoticed. Uh, if you really wanted to go to this, and then yeah,
Yep. Okay. I have a question for Rupika right now. Uh, let's take a situation. For example, I am a student right now who is in my second year, and I sort of discovered that my interest is in artist management right now. And but I'm not sure whether my qualification would actually sort of qualify for artist management position or not. So how do I know what exact qualification should be there so that I sort of can pursue my dream as an artist manager?
So, Rohit, there are two ways to go about this. It depends also
Okay.
on what kind of a student you are and how seriously you want to change your trajectory. Okay. So, one way is that you are somebody who wants someone like me, that I am interested in a particular subject, but I know that my skill set is more creative. And I know
Hmm.
that I'm somebody who does not maybe want to enter the same kind of job industry.
Hmm.
So for that, the way to go about it could be to identify internships while you are studying, to also
Hmm.
take up courses online, because we are now in a world that connects us so easily with so many things, where
Yeah.
you can learn immediately about digital marketing, you can learn about statistics and analytics, about what social media numbers are and what the reach of those numbers mean. Taking
Hmm.
up courses in creative writing is always a great boost, because you will then become, it'll be easier for you to present your ideas, and you can also show copy for what is it that you're thinking, because it's not always easy to translate what your creative side is unless you know how to go about and talk about it. So this could always be the three or four things that you can do while you are also saying that, I want to also study this subject that is interesting me at this point. If you're
Yeah.
somebody who wants to definitely do something which is very core and is something that is, the subject itself is around artist management, then going for something like an MBA is going to be so big and so important for you to place yourself higher above the others. And it's competitive, we all must agree with that. I'm not trying to say that
Yep.
if you don't do one thing, then there's nothing for you out there. I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to say that how is it that you can leverage yourself over the rest of the people who will also have similar kind of backgrounds. At that point, doing something in MBA is phenomenal, because it gives you the advantage of understanding what market it is that you are entering.
Hmm.
Because at the end
Hmm.
of the day, artist management is so enterprising that you have to scale up the creativity and the marketability of a performer, because these two are the two main pillars on which artist management stands, or on which artist careers stand. It's as much creativity as much it is
Hmm.
something that can be monetized and scaled, because you don't want to be an artist who's going to be hustling for the rest of their life, right? And
Hmm.
artist managers are that, as I said earlier, that bridge that reduce that hustling part. So
Hmm.
if you are somebody who as a core person has done MBA or a communications degree, perhaps a master's in communications or something that gives you
Okay.
a better understanding of your market space or of your cultural industry, then there
Hmm.
is no beating you to it, because you know exactly what is it that you're going to bring to the table. There are
Hmm.
both these ways that you can approach it, depending
Hmm.
on where you are at and what kind of a person you are, and how you want to go about it.
Okay. I have one more question for Ankur. What sort of different categories of artists can we sort of expect an artist manager to sort of manage?
There, there are n numbers of artists basically.
Hmm.
From our age, we can talk about DJs, right?
Okay.
There are, and then came in stand-up comedy artists. Now there are content creators, right? Um,
Yes.
so in every 2 3 years, there will be another genre of artists who will be recognized. There are spoken word artists, right?
Hmm.
Back then in 2000, there were rock bands, right? The age
Yeah.
of rock bands,
Yeah.
and before that, there were poets, there were writers, and there
Okay.
are celebrities all across the whole genres, right? Celebrities in sense of actors
Hmm.
and public figures. Even some politicians who are public figures are also some sort of celebrity in that
Hmm.
matter. So there
Hmm.
is management required there as well. So yeah, so like in every, it's a very vast entertainment business, a very vast community, and
Hmm.
it every year you will find another. So right now, if I can say, content creators and rappers and singer songwriters are the key people who are actually ruling our community, right?
Yeah.
Um, from 2020, I think the major boom in the economy has come from content creators
Hmm.
and rappers,
Hmm.
right? These are
Yeah.
the leading artists you can see up front. There
Hmm.
are new acts every day. Every day there is a new act you can find on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so there are n number of artists that you can look across. It's best that you go into what you like, because they'll come naturally, right? I
Okay.
liked
Okay.
rock music, I liked electronic music, I
Hmm.
liked stand-up comedy as in spoken word thing. So that's why I'm in this.
Hmm.
Currently, I'm trying to manage all of this sort of communities, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So it's best that you recognize you love this and you would like to be part of this, and think long term. Think to invest your time, as in don't think a short ki I will recognize this artist, they will make money and I'll be rich. This
Okay.
doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's like
It's
one
it's
aspect of that, right?
yeah, this is the story of every artist manager ever heard, right? You found an artist, you're managing him, and you got rich. So,
Hmm.
so invest into the community rather than just looking
Hmm.
to short term and just
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
getting lucky. Better.
Got it. Got it. I have one question again for like Rupika. So, let's say I am an artist right now. When do I know that this is the exact moment where I should like get an artist manager?
Uh, let's see. That's a fun question, because again, it depends so much on the kind of artist that you are and your what is your art that you are kind of bringing to the table. Now, for example, if
Okay.
you are a spoken word artist,
Hmm.
okay, let's assume that you were a spoken word artist and you're somebody who has kind of been putting out content on the daily, and you've seen a significant increase in engagement on
Hmm.
social media for that matter,
Hmm.
that every day you have made an attempt that I will post one something on Instagram,
Hmm.
and in the month's time you have definitely seen an increase because of how Instagram works and people like to
Hmm.
engage, and you've seen a boost. I think the artist manager should come in at the point where you have identified that you have identified your either your lifetime goal, or if you're
Hmm.
not that kind of person and you want to take it slow, You've
Hmm.
identified what is your output that you want at the end of this year.
Hmm.
As an artist, it's very important for the artists themselves to know what is the end goal that a manager will step in and work with them towards. You
Hmm.
can't just bring an artist manager on board and be like, bring opportunities for me and we'll
Hmm.
see from there. It's also a lot of working backwards, and an artist needs to kind of also very openly and transparently tell you that look,
Okay.
this is my objective for this end, for the end of this year, or for the end of my life, or the end of my career, or whatever it is, in terms of
Hmm.
what scale they imagine themselves to be.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm. Hmm.
manager will then come in and be like, okay, these are the things that we can do towards this goal, and these are the
Okay.
things that we possibly at this moment cannot. And therefore you then work
Okay.
backwards and together. I think anybody working isolated from the artist manager or the artist, and both of them having a different wavelength that is not matching, is going to end you
Yeah.
up in a spot, and you're not going to really get anywhere. You probably
Yes,
will
that's a
be.
very important factor, I guess.
Yeah, so it's important that you recognize also that as much as it is projecting, it's also working backwards from something as a goal that you've set. And
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
an in management, I feel that is the advantage that you have, that you know these are the tools and resources available, and you know these are the things you'll definitely be able to achieve. And
Hmm.
that is
Hmm. Hmm.
comforting, as much as it's obviously disorienting for the kind of scale that people want to achieve in any
Hmm.
career. But the
Hmm. Hmm.
comfort of knowing that we have all of this available and this is what we'll
Hmm.
definitely be able to achieve is something
Hmm.
that can only come in tandem with conversation with manager and artist, depending on where you're working backwards from. So
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Now somewhere I also I might, I don't know, become like an artist or maybe like a manager. This is like truly inspiring. Also, I have one more question for Ankur. So as this platform is called Internshala, we sort of encourage our students to sort of do internships, because that's our ultimate goal, to sort of make them do internships, as so that's where they sort of gain exposure. So in this whole field of artist management, what are the types of internships are we should one look forward to?
There are various internships that we generally look at. There are, since I've already told you, like there are different divisions of management. There are multiple roles that a intern can play, um, from social media manager to then content coordination is one other thing, that placing
Hmm.
everything, all the write-ups and everything there. So
Hmm.
either you working in a live division, either you want to work in the content division, or you
Hmm.
want to work in the marketing side of it. You can. Uh, so these are the sort of divisions you can look at, right? If you are
Hmm.
very keen in making content, then you choose content. If you want to go out there to manage, if you want to do live shows, you're interested in throwing gigs,
Yeah.
then go in that aspect. Or if you want to make noise, if you know you want to cater to people, you want to reach out to people, you know how to communicate a message, uh, and you know the technical part of today's social media, then
Hmm.
look at marketing. And
Hmm.
whatever you do, you try and ace that skill, so that then you can cater to all the other two parts of it, because it's incomplete without all these three, right?
Okay. I'm really interested in knowing what are these cool projects that you both have sort of worked on, because since obviously so half the artists you have worked on, I'm a huge fan of them, so I would love to know about these projects. And are they available anywhere where we can sort of like look at?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think Ankur, if you want to.
For me, recent one was Chata Vidayaka 2 season 2. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. So yeah, all across we started shooting before pandemic. Then pandemic happened, all the chaos happened, and then so the shoot was scattered between before the pandemic and whenever the lockdown got over. So it's a very challenging come very good out output that I've seen in Charter with Actors. So this is one of the recent great
Hmm.
projects I have. Uh,
I think for
yeah.
me, the most recent and the most fun and most hectic shoot that or hectic project that I've done is we did something with Netflix recently, and it was
Hmm.
released yesterday as April Fool's Day sketch. It was something with Sumukhi
Oh,
Suresh and Suresh Menon.
yes, yes, I saw that. I saw that.
Yes, so that was my most recent, and
Wow.
I think I can flex about that. I should flex.
Oh my God. I'm gonna flex about this to like my friends that I interviewed. I sort of had a conversation with you both.
Dude, you're too
Yeah.
sweet.
That's
But
So
that's
to
pretty.
add
Yeah.
on to add on,
Hmm.
the very recent one was yesterday Bangalore show with Munawar Faruqi.
oh
So
yeah,
that's how we roll. Every day is a new, like, it's either it's a smaller, it's either it's big, it's every day challenging. So
Okay.
yeah.
And what's like the most memorable project, which was like, which sort of was the most difficult, as well as it sort of gave the most amount of learning for both of you.
Uh, yeah, very tough one.
Uh,
Actually, for me particularly, since I'm not from a very conventional background, and so
hmm,
every project comes with a challenge.
hmm,
And in mostly in every project, there is an X thing that is challenging just because it's a new project. We are trying to do something which is not done anywhere, right? So that's why it hits people in
hmm,
a new way, right?
hmm,
So every project comes with the new challenges, and there are new learnings every time. There is, and you have the basic knowledge, you have the basic skill set. That's why you are able to tackle all these new challenges and
hmm,
scale it up every time. So just to give you an example, Zakir Khan US trip was one of the, in tour management, that was the one of the biggest challenge in tour
hmm,
management I faced, because um, producing shows internationally for 1,500 to 3,000 people every city, and back to back travel to with sorting the logistics, plus the technicals of the technical communication of in every US sort of venues were very
hmm,
challenging. But
hmm,
now I have learned that maybe next time, maybe it'll be a bigger scale. Maybe I'm hitting about 3,000 to 4,000 people. So
hmm,
again, I'm choosing new venues, new. I know how to do it, but there are challenges that I'll face again, and I'll learn more. So yeah, every project comes with new challenges and new learnings for sure.
hmm.
I agree with that.
Okay. And what's the funniest memory, the recent memory that you can just like come up with that's like actually in your head right now?
Funniest. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, it's just catching flights. Yeah, every flight that I catch has a funny story attached to it. I don't know how it comes to that, and I always reach on the last passenger who is catching the flight. I don't
Oh,
know how I managed to do that, but I do manage to catch the flight every time. Like, I
hmm.
have missed a lot of flights. Uh,
Yeah.
shouldn't be
I
talking
have. I
about this,
have. Yeah, I can feel it.
but yes. But that's the operation part is always funny.
Hmm.
Always have. There is always an hassle attached to it.
Yeah, I think all our funny stories come with so much stress that at that point it's not funny only.
Yeah.
At that
Oh
point you're like,
yes, that's actually an
did I
interesting thing.
you're like, did I just make a mistake and we have to do this entirely again? And you're like, oh no, everything is fine. I was just freaking out. Just part of life. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I think it's time that we should wrap up this conversation. And what are your final words for like our viewers?
So
Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
um, my final words are: if you want to really join a particular, or if you want to be a part of uh, first of all, dream big, but structure those dreams, right? Structure
Hmm.
your dreams well. Just don't dream something and just sit down and expect that to, you know, happen to itself. So go out, reach out to people, structure your dreams, and try and know, trying to get the feel of where exactly you want to be, and give your 100% there.
Yeah, I think final thoughts would just be that uh, just go with absolutely trust your instinct and go with the flow. I think a lot of people in structuring, I agree with Ankur that you must structure your dreams, but at the same time, trust your gut and just try to see how you can communicate it to more people. So anytime and any opportunity that you get in order to kind of take a very small risk in an idea that you are not fully believing in, just try to find ways in being able to communicate that. That could be either through actual written word, that could be through video, that could be through a podcast, that could be through
Hmm.
anything. But as long as you know that it's being communicated and people are receiving it and you fill that whole communication link, you know there is merit to it, and then you're going to automatically become confident in what you're doing. So in case you're not confident in where you are at, just try to over communicate and figure out how you can do that, and you'll be sorted,
Hmm.
honestly. So
I
yeah.
think I think that's the best way to sort of sum up this conversation. And thank you so much, both of you, for sort of giving your precious time and sort of making this happen. I'm probably gonna flex about this to my friends right now, and in case my friends are watching this, yeah, see, okay.
Thank you,
So
Rohit.
and
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Rohit. You're a sweetheart. Thank you.
thank you. And most importantly, thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you for joining in, and we'll come back next time with another guest with another unconventional career, and yeah, we'll have a conversation. So see you next time.